Welcome back to the Daily Lift. I've been thinking a lot lately about my life, about my experiences and the trials, the adversity that have developed me and molded me into the person I am today. And a lot of times, adversity, hard stuff, discomfort gets a bad rap. And we see it in a lot of things, like, the cliche of going to the gym, it hurts so good, and these kind of things. But then when life throws us these things that we would call curveballs or obstacles, it's something negative. And I think that this is such a disservice to these weights that are strengthening our muscles, the weights of life, that we call them hurdles and we call them hiccups and obstacles and curveballs, because we should expect them, right? We should be preparing for adversity and making predetermined judgments on how we're going to respond and what kind of person that we're going to be. And it is so important for us to do this beforehand, as well as when we don't handle things well, how we can reflect on those things and make sure that we are making the most use of our intelligence, of our awareness, and of our awareness of the future. And not only the future here in this life, but the future generations, our influence, as well as our eternal destination. And when we look at adversity as a positive thing, remember James, count it all joy. And Peter says something very similar as well. And we start to look at life where things are happening for us and not to us. We stop being victims and we start being the captains of our own lives. And when this happens, it can change the game completely. When we stop looking at adversity and difficulties as something to be dreaded, something that causes anxiety, something to feel hopeless about, and we say that these things are the necessary weights to destroy those muscles and rebuild them back stronger. And when we look at it in the sense of the book of Job, we know the story of Job and how Job experienced these terrible, terrible things. But God was using Job and his life and his faithfulness to put the devil to shame. And instead of looking at things as far as, look what the devil's doing to me, look how Satan is hindering me, we can say, now I rejoice. I rejoice in the fact that I have these thorns in the flesh. I rejoice in the fact that I have these infirmities or whatever handicaps that we have. Those things actually can be the unique characteristics and traits about us that makes us stronger, that makes us better at the things that we excel in. And so I want to encourage you today to change your perspective on adversity. Make sure that you are looking at it in the biblical sense of what adversity is, because these trials are going to come. These hardships will come. And when we act like we're dumbfounded and why is this happening or how could this be going on right now, this is indications that we're not handling these things and we don't have the right perspective about them. When we can look at them and say, yes, I'm so glad this is happening because now I can work on this major character flaw of mine and get it right. But the important thing is that we have to make sure that we are finding the silver lining in these adversities, because a lot of times they can just beat us down and we don't learn anything from them, and it does cause us to be victims. But we're not victims of any external circumstance. We're victims to our own minds. We cage ourselves in that way, where God has desired us and He has designed us to be free. So So free yourself from that anxiety. Cast all your cares and all your burdens on Jesus. Take up his yoke because it is easy and it is light. And as always, go lift somebody up.